All right. We are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a great week wherever you are, whatever day it is for you. As always, it's Friday on the podcast, so we're bringing that Good Friday energy to you. I have, as you guys know, we had the wedding, we had the honeymoon, and then we got back and we promptly got COVID, which is always fun, but the whole family is getting over it now. So getting back into the swing of things. And it's a good day for a second reason because we have Jason Hull with us on the podcast here. Jason is with DoorGrow, and they help property managers grow their property management companies. He has a lot of extensive experience in property management. So all you guys out there with a larger portfolio, you guys are, maybe you're juggling it yourself. You're knocking on doors, you're getting rent checks, all that stuff, and you want to figure out how to optimize your property management portfolio. Or maybe you want to start a property management company yourself and get things vertically integrated. This is the episode to listen to. So Jason, thanks for hopping on the show.
Glad to be here, Gabe. And I guess congrats are in order.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we, my wife and I got married at the beginning of August, and then we went on a honeymoon. And then on the flight home, we got COVID. And so it's been a whirlwind of an August for us.
Yeah. Well, congrats on the wedding and not on getting COVID. So you got to be better there somehow.
All right. Well, hey, man, I told you before we got on here, we always like to start with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and just tell us how you got started and then how you got to where you are.
Yeah, well, we can go way back. So I was raised by a real estate agent mother and very involved in real estate and really good at what she did and really connecting with everybody and getting deals. And her business was just all referrals. Like people were just bringing business to her all the time. She was like everybody's mom, so they all trusted her. And I started my business, which initially was like a website design business for my brother who he needed a website for his property management company that he had just bought into as a franchisee. And so he was like, hey, I need a website. I'm like, well, I just started a website business, so let me help you with that. And then I started getting property management companies all over the US wanting what he had. And long story short, we rebranded the company as DoorGrow and started focusing just on property management companies and coaching them and supporting them. And I've never even managed a rental property in my life. I'm just really great at growing businesses and scaling companies. And so my personal why or mission in life is to inspire others to love true principles. And so I love learning what works, sharing it with others, figuring out, what gets the biggest benefit, what helps people figure things out. And I love sharing and teaching that. So my business exists really largely to feed my addiction to learning. And I spend a lot of money on coaches and mentors. And then I get to turn around and help my clients, which are property management business owners and entrepreneurs. And so we're really good at rehabbing property management companies. We're kind of like bar rescue for property managers.
Nice.
Except I don't yell at our clients as much as John Coffey does in the show. But
I haven't heard of bar rescue, but I can imagine that would be entertaining if they're going around to bars and flipping them essentially.
Yeah, they're just cleaning them up, or like Marcus Lemonis to show the profit or whatever he's doing now. We just go in and we redo their branding, we clean up their sales process, we clean up their pricing, we help them stop sucking because most property management companies suck in most markets.
Yeah,
and a lot of investors listening to this probably know that's true. So we turn them into good companies.
Yeah, we've had multiple people on the show, and kind of a theme that's gone through the episodes is that if you find a good property manager, hold on to them because it is difficult to find somebody who's good at property management, who knows what they're doing, who is responsive on the phone, and so. Definitely hold on to it. So you specifically specialize in helping property management companies themselves. Mm-hmm. So let's put a what if hat on and put yourself in the shoes of a real estate investor. They have 10, 20 doors, something like that. And they're thinking about vertically integrating. They want to start a property management company. They already manage their own properties. They got the processes down, but they want to grow and they want to launch their own company. So what are the steps that you would put this person through in order to get their property management company launched?
Yeah, great question. So I mean, it's not uncommon if you are already doing all of the stuff to manage your own properties, you might as well, if you really want to get access to some of the best deals off market, start doing it for other people. Like I've got a client with 300 doors. He uses his property management business as basically a honeypot to attract people that want third-party property management, and then he convinces them to do seller financing and give them their properties. And so it's a great way to get
Yeah,
investment.
that's a good way to get your marketing to work for you there. Most people marketing is a cost, but if you're just getting deals brought to you from your clients, then it's actually a revenue source for you. So good strategy, and something I actually have heard. We've had a couple other property managers on the show, and they say that's one of the main benefits of starting your own property management company is you get first pick from these tired landlords out there who they have a property. You are their property manager, and they're just like, I don't want to own this anymore. I'm ready to sell it, and then you can step up and say, Hey, I'll
Yeah.
buy your property, and this is what I can offer.
So to get a property management business started, there's a lot of mistakes people make. They're like very common mistakes. And I've talked to thousands of property managers. I've coached hundreds, and we've got kind of the ultimate program for this. But usually, there's 6 major leaks that they miss when they're getting their business started that they just do incorrectly. First is picking the wrong business name. A lot of them are branded as something generic like real estate or realty or properties. And so there's a lot of people that start up their property management business and they're wanting to maybe attract third party and start getting access to deals and getting clients and managing other people's properties, but their branding's off. And if
Interesting.
that's
I would actually, and I don't mean to jump in here, but I would actually, I've launched quite a few businesses, and I never put too much emphasis on the name because I know that the, I mean, you can always go back and change a name, but it's really the action that you take is what's most important. But you think that especially for property management, the name makes a huge difference. Why is that?
well, so I get a lot of people coming to me that are struggling to grow their property management business because they'll launch this third party management business. And then the biggest challenge is trying to get clients. And the way they're trying to get clients usually is through digital or internet marketing. And the problem, this dirty secret in the industry that marketers targeting property managers don't want to tell you is that there's very little search volume. If you go
Yeah,
to trends.google.com, put in property management, backdated to 2004 to the present, that's when Google started tracking data. You'll see over 2 decades, you won't see there's very much search volume. You compare it to any other keyword or term, it's so small, it's a lumpy line at the bottom.
yeah.
There's no search volume. People are not looking for property management actively. And the people that need it, a lot of them don't even know they need it. A lot of
Mm,
investors listening to this think I don't need a property manager, or maybe some don't even know what one might be or do for them. And there's a lot of misconceptions. So the challenge is they're doing stuff that doesn't really work to grow the business. Then they reach out to us, but they make a lot of mistakes. And if somebody's looking for a property management company, they're probably looking for a property management company,
mhm.
not something branded as a real estate company. Because a lot of property management companies
Oh, I
are
see.
started by realtors or brokers, and then they start doing it. And they're like, well, we do both. And so
So
they're
yeah,
branded as a real estate company, or they're branded. And then they don't look like a specialist. If you're an investor, do you want to trust the real estate company who's focused on getting real estate deals? Are you going to, if you're a real estate agent that has property, you're going to refer to a real estate company that's on the
got it.
tin, right?
So you're
So
you're
it's just one of
specifically
the,
saying, yeah, you're saying that in the name you should put what you're doing, which totally I thought you meant like
it seems pretty simple.
JP property
It's
management
not.
versus CJ property management, but
Yeah, I mean,
you do
acronyms,
need
for example, aren't as effective as because they're not as memorable. But if you imagine a hose, right, and this hose is your pipeline of deals, and at the outset of the hose is the spigot, right? You're turning on the faucet to run water through. The faucet is lead generation. So most companies just keep coming to us and they're like, "We need more leads. We need more leads. How do we get leads?" But they're ignoring the hose. And at the other end of the hose is this little plant that's struggling called their business. They're trying to grow and get fruit from, but it's not doing so well because it's not getting any juice. It's not getting any water. So there's 6 major leaks in this pipeline we found. At the very beginning, there's branding. After that, there's reputation. A lot of companies have bad reviews, so they're struggling. And then after that, they have maybe a crappy website. Like the website doesn't convert, it doesn't create trust. All of these are trust leaks after the website piece. Then there's like their delivery and their fulfillment. And so it could be, we call purpose, which is the actual product in property management. Nobody wants to buy property management. What they really want to buy is they want trust. They want peace of mind. They're trying to find a partner they can rely on. And we call that purpose. And then there's pricing is another major leak. And then the last leak is the pitch. It's like, how do you sell it? And most property managers don't have these things dialed in. And so when you're starting a property management business, you got to do all of these right. Otherwise, every single one of these could cost you 50% attrition.
Interesting.
And so there's very little flowing through the pipeline. And then they're just trying to shove and spend way more money on strategies that don't work, like SEO and pay-per-click and content marketing and social media marketing and all this stuff to try and funnel business through when there's not even that much search volume. So that's what we would help them is just get started correctly so they don't make a whole bunch of mistakes out of the gate thinking, I know how to manage properties. Maybe I could start a business.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So to kind of summarize what you said first you start with the right name, has to have property management in the company, otherwise people don't know what you do. Which makes
that's
a lot
one
of sense.
of several key rules when it comes to the branding. Because the crux of branding, one of the biggest sources is word of mouth. And if the branding's off, you hurt word of mouth. For example, misspelling a word. Like some people think they're cute and clever and pick a generic name. Like, a company called Hot Tubs that sells hot tubs. The name's generic to the category, but then they'll misspell it to try and be cute, which makes it even harder. They'll put a Z at the end.
I
Hot
hate it when people
Tubs.
put Z.
Right. And so then they've got this generic name that's misspelled. So what happens if somebody says, oh yeah, it's a company people can't remember names that are generic. It's hard. But if they do, they're like, oh yeah, it's called Hot Tubs. Yeah. And then they're like, and they go Google it. And then it's like, Google's auto-correcting your spelling, even if you do spell it the wrong way, which is the correct way. And then they can't even find you. And then they see all your competitors, right? So branding can cause a lot of attrition and people are blind to it. 80 to 90% of businesses fail. Like in the first, 5 years or something like that, half fail in the first year. And none of them, after they fail, go, you know what, maybe I picked the wrong name. But it's pretty significant and it's a blind spot because nobody ever calls you up and says, I would have went with you, but you were branded as
something I
XYZ
didn't
real
understand.
estate. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that is a good point. You do have to have your actual activity in the name. And after that, you mentioned reputation management.
Mm-hmm.
So Google reviews. And if you guys don't have any experience with that, just you got to first set up your actual Google My Business listing and then just go get a Go High Level account and do it through there. They will automatically reply to those Google reviews. They'll manage it very simply. So it's not that hard, but it's a really easy step to take. And then you mentioned the website, which I feel like is something that a lot of people still don't put enough emphasis on because if a website looks like crap, then people don't trust you. It's the first thing that people see when they go on the internet. And that is, that's where you're going to get the majority of the people outside of, your referrals.
Yeah, a lot of people make mistakes with the website piece. They're trying to manipulate or please Google instead of trying to please people and get conversions. And so if anybody listening wants to grade their property management website, because they have one already, you can go to doorgrow.com/quiz and put it in. It'll give you a letter grade and it'll tell you whether you have a crappy converting website or not. But yeah, the website needs social proof. It needs testimonials. It needs trust symbols. It needs all the indicators that facilitate trust because every single one of these leaks we're talking about are trust leaks. Sales and deals happen at the speed of trust. And that's the whole crux of it is if you can optimize for trust, you get more business.
Absolutely. It's another reason why hopping on other people's podcasts, I'm not I'm not not telling you guys to go start a podcast. If you do want to, it's a great thing to do, but at least go get on a podcast or anything, some kind of like newspaper, something that gives you a little bit of authority because that you can put on your website and people will see that you've been represented by another person in the industry. And it increases your trust factor, I guess. So you've also mentioned pricing. Let's talk about pricing because that is something that a lot of people struggle with. Doesn't matter what type of business you're in. Pricing is it's a difficult thing to nail. So how do you generally suggest people price their property management services?
Well, the problem is psychologically, when it comes to investors, there's three types of investors. I call them the cheapos, the normals, and the premiums. And they have different pain thresholds when it comes to spending. The cheapos are super price sensitive. They're always trying to get the lowest price. And
You
these
don't want those
cheapo
guys.
and these
Don't
cheapo
have them as
investors,
clients.
yeah, if you're one of these, you're listening to this, the cheapo investors always end up making less money and spending more money because they're not doing things the right way. They're trying to be cheap and it ends up costing them in the long run. They're not thinking with vision. And then you've got the vast majority, which are in the middle. And then you've got the premium buyers. Premium buyers care less about spending money and they care more about other things they value, like their time or having a better experience. And so we usually recommend our clients have 3 price points for 3 different types of buyers. So 3 different plans based on the psychological profile. And the difference between the 3 plans is at the low end, on your economy plan or your cheapest plan, you're going to, it's going to be more a la carte. And on the more premium plan, it's going to be more all inclusive, but you're going to spend more. And the more premium plan is focused more on providing more safety and certainty, more security. Whereas the cheapos, they don't care about feeling safe. Their biggest disruptor emotionally is just money. So they want the cheapest price. So we set up the pricing model so that it's optimized for these 3 different types of buyers. And then the vast majority, like 60% roughly, maybe 2/3 are in the middle. And this is the Goldilocks principle that we teach clients, is that the vast majority are in the middle and that's where your most of your money is going to be made. And then we do a hybrid model. So we actually have in most property management companies will just do a percentage or they'll do a flat fee. We have our clients do both. And the reason for that is it protects them from the cheapest, lowest rent properties. It kind of has a hardwired built-in minimum. And on the most premium, highest rent properties, it sort of kind of affords a discount because there's less connected to percentage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so what that does is it incentivizes them getting more of the high rent properties that have easier tenants to deal with. Usually it's a higher caliber tenant and a much higher operational cost, a much lower operational cost and a much higher profit margin.
Yeah.
And then the lowest rent properties, you're bringing in more money on those and there's more of a kind of almost a penalty and it's more fair to the property manager because a lot of property managers that I've seen inside their businesses, they're losing money on a lot of the lowest rent properties or the most difficult micromanagey owners that they're managing for.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the barrel that you generally do not want to deal with, in my experience. It's tempting to, if you really want to get into a market, if you want to get in, launch some kind of business, you have this temptation to lower your prices so that you get more business quickly. But all you're doing is you're attracting people that you don't want to work with, and people who want to pay $10 for something that's worth $100. Those are the people that they're going to be a pain in your neck. It's just not worth the time and effort that it is, that the money you'll be getting from them. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Hey, I just took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have run it down. Before we move on though, I always like to ask, especially people who are in businesses like yours, they're very, process oriented. They are ripe to be improved with AI. So what is, before we move on, let's talk a little bit about this. What are the ways that you're seeing AI applied to property management, or what ways do you see it applied currently and that you feel like it can be applied in the future?
Yeah, there's a huge opportunity right now. There's going to be an incredible gap between the people that are now superhuman using AI and the people that are afraid of it and not adopting it. And so already we're seeing AI maintenance coordination companies. We're seeing that are able to handle 95% of the property management companies' maintenance issues and stuff. We're seeing AI handling, triaging their inbox and emails and requests coming in. So the property management companies that are focused on AI are going to be able to do a much better job.
Yeah.
Because AI doesn't forget. AI doesn't screw up. AI doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
And so once AI learns, then it can continue and do a good job. And so I think there's going to be property managers that are adopting this. A lot of my clients are already doing that. and there's going to be those that don't. And there's some really cool stuff that's coming out. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot easier than people think to implement even a simple AI into your business. Like you can feed an AI with a knowledge base. You just basically give it the docs that your operational docs that you have for your company, feed it into a knowledge base, and then you connect it to some kind of chatbot. Any type of chatbot could be, something that you just type into on the that you usually see on a website. It's a little chat bubble that pops up. People click it, and they're usually talking to a rep. You can connect that to an AI that's connected to a knowledge base, and it could field people's questions for you just right there. And it's really simple to set up. So that's always, when people ask me how they can implement AI in their business, that's the way that I like to suggest, because it's just so simple and it's a good win, a win for you. So awesome. With that, I'm going to move us on to the quick question round. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Starts with education. Could be any form. Could be a movie you've seen, a mentorship program you met a part of, a conference you've gone to, anything. I just need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for business.
Ooh, general life wisdom. Man. Okay. I'm always learning. That's like asking me to pick my favorite kid, right? So, I think one of my favorite things, if we go spiritual, I think all learning boils down to truth and principles. I really love the book, The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ. Great book. I think it illustrates some principles. Some people that are really Christian might love it, and some might hate it. I don't know, but I really enjoy that. Recently, I've listened to some books by Mel Robbins. I think Let Them is a really powerful book she recently released. It's a really great one. I learned a lot from that. I thought that was really valuable. And I don't know, Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference comes to mind as well. It's a good one. But I think here's a really great one for anyone that has to sell anything. If you're trying to convince people, sell to people, ever since COVID hit, we're in what I call the post-trust era. Nobody trusts anything anymore. The whole sales game has changed. Old school selling tactics don't work. People are less trusting. So I would recommend that you take a look at The New Model of Selling by Jeremy Miner. It's a great book.
Cool. I have not yet. That has not been recommended yet on the show. So that's a good recommendation. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Going on to the next question. This is for your younger self. Let's go back to the Jason who was just getting started back when I think you said your brother reached out about his property management company. Go back to that version of Jason, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Oh, man. What would I say to him? I think what I would say to him is the slowest path to growth is to do it alone. Get coaches, get mentors sooner. Stop trying to figure it all out yourself by reading books and watching YouTube videos. It's a super slow path.
Yeah, that is great advice and something that's been echoed across so many episodes here, that mentorship, being with somebody, having somebody there with you that's been, a couple feet down the road, a couple miles down the road that you're traveling on, getting them to give you some advice as you travel that road is invaluable. It could be a mentor that you pay. It could be somebody that you do a deal with. Maybe you're helping them in their business, but somehow surround yourself with people who know more than you, and your business will go a lot further than you think. All right. Yeah. That leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is a 2-parter. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
Cool. If you're interested in just entrepreneurism and some really cool thoughts and ideas, you can follow me on any social media platform. I'm King Jason Hull, Hull. That's on Instagram or X or anywhere. And then if you're interested in property management, reach out to, and you want some support there, it's DoorGrow on every platform. So
perfect. I will put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out, all you got to do is click the little more in the description. It's going to pull down that full description. In there, you can find Jason's links.
Perfect.
All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.